Hello, welcome to
The Real Bit Wars.
I'm Chris, and recently I went to a couple of toy shows, had picked up some video games. I have a couple of other eBay pickups and some other things to show you, but yeah, I'll get right into it here. So, about a mile from my house, they had some toy show a few weeks back. I had been at the venue before. I knew it was going to be relatively small, so I expected it to not really take me too long to walk through the whole thing. But I had my fingers crossed that hopefully there would be a few video games. I will just say this. It was a lot of fun to walk through and look at all of the stuff they had for sale. There were people that had like G.I. Joes and all these things from my childhood, a lot of Ninja Turtles stuff. So I went through the whole thing, only saw a couple of video games, nothing I was much interested in, and I got to the final table kind of right at the corner before I got out the door, and somebody had a bin full of like retro video games. So I opted to go for a couple of the cheaper things that I saw in there. So I have these two Game Boy games that I picked up. When I got to the car, my wife explained to me what this was. I didn't even know. I just sort of blindly picked them up because the price was right, but Tamagotchi. Yeah, after she explained it, I thought, maybe I didn't need to pick that up. So can't say I'll probably spend a whole lot of time on that one now that I know what it is. But this one, on the other hand, I have already played through and beat a couple of times. Lock and Chase. So I've seen this many times for sale. Didn't really intrigue me that much, but again, for the price, I thought I'd go after it. I didn't realize it until after I picked this up. I actually have every port of this game now. I have the 2600, the Intellivision, and now the Game Boy. At least to my knowledge. If you know of any other ports, let me know. But yeah, I'm having a blast with this. So published by Data East. My favorite Game Boy game of all time is Burger Time Deluxe, which is also a Data East game, so I'm starting to think that maybe I'll go after that subset, try to get all of the Data East games that were released on the Game Boy, because I love both of the ones that I have. I figured, what the heck have I got to lose? Maybe I'll try and pick up some more of them. Okay, so the second toy show. This is a biannual one that they have in Green Bay, Wisconsin, Collectabilia. I went to it once a couple of years ago. They do one in November, and then I just went to this one in April. So it's 1 week before the Midwest Gaming Classic, and I think the show was able to benefit from that. It seemed much larger than the November one I went to a couple of years ago, or maybe the show has just grown, but I'll be going back to this, definitely. It's a lot of fun. I want to point this out. I'm going to butcher his name. I don't quite remember. But the guy that made General Chaos was there. And he had some artwork and things. But I had a chance to stop and talk to him. He handed me this little card. He is working on a sequel to the game. And it was kind of cool because he asked me, he's like, well, have you played the original? I go, oh yeah, I have a copy of it for the Genesis. It's among my favorite Sega games. I really like it. And he was like impressed by that, the fact that I actually was familiar with it. But I had a nice chat with him. It was really cool to just kind of talk about it. He had like some toys and other things for sale. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Major Snafu is the title of the sequel here. But yeah, that is General Chaos Part 2. And then a video game vendor, I don't know his name, but I recognized him as somebody who's often at the MGC. Had a ton of video games for sale. Saw a lot of video games kind of scattered throughout the show, so it was really neat to dig through all that stuff. But I went through one of this video game vendor's bins of imports for the Game Boy. I think I might have caught him slipping a little bit here, folks, because for $10, I got the Adventures of Lolo for the Game Boy. This is the Japanese version, which is the more inexpensive version. There's a European port that is far more expensive, but I love those Lolo games. This was, I'm not going to lie, I think this might have been the #1 game on my wish list. I was floored. I couldn't believe that I found it out in the wild like that, and for such a great price. Again, I've already played through and beat this twice because I love it. I love the Lolo games, and what a pleasant surprise to see that so cheap. But I'll say about the Collectorabilia Con, it's just fun to walk through. I don't collect toys outside of the retro video games, but it's a blast to just walk into there and look at the stuff they have. Some of the vendors I saw at both of these two different toy shows that I went to, which was okay. It's so tempting to buy some of that stuff. One person had a Raphael figure TMNT from the first movie. It was only $8. Oh man, I had to resist the urge to pick that up for that price. And then that same vendor had a Turbo Man from one of my favorite bad movies, Jingle All the Way. And it was only $30. Immediately I was like, holy cow, why is that so cheap? I really wanted to bring it home. And then I saw the Funko logo on it and I realized it's actually like a reproduction of the original one. But just seeing that stuff was a lot of fun. All right, so I'm going to get on to these next ones. I went to a place called Pre-Played, which is very close to where the convention took place. I like going in there more so for movies. And I'll share with you like some of the different things that I collect for. These are some kind of ridiculous movie pickups. I don't know. Isn't it ridiculous I pick up movies that I don't even think are that great? I just want them in my collection. I'll start with one that isn't necessarily a bad movie. It's just one that I have not seen in a long time. Idle Hands. I went through the whole place, didn't really find much, and then they had a clearance section where the stuff was all 99 cents, so that's where I picked up all of these from. I saw this movie in the theater back when it was released. That was like the late 90s or something? Early 2000s? Oh, it says 99 here. Saw it in the theater. I loved it. And I've been wanting to revisit it. So when I saw it, I decided to pick it up. It wasn't available on any of the streaming services that I have, so I thought it was worthwhile to pick it up, actual physical copy. Another questionable movie pickup here, Scary Movie 4. This actually completes my set. I have all 5 of these now. I've been trying to track them down because I want to rewatch that series. Alright, another actor going for the complete set of all the movies he was ever in, Rodney Dangerfield, Easy Money. I honestly am not sure if I've ever seen this one, so I'm looking forward to watching that. Rodney Dangerfield was a legend in his own time. Now this is the most ridiculous of the pickups because I have watched this and I did not like it, but I am on a mission to collect every film adaptation of Frankenstein. I got I, Frankenstein, so I'll give it another shot. Maybe I'll like it now, but either way, it's staying in the collection because it's a Frankenstein movie. And then when I got those movies, I was standing in line at the checkout, and they had some CDs sitting up there, and this was a total impulse buy, but I got the Coneheads soundtrack. There's a lot of songs on this that I really enjoy. I'm a bit of a Fairweather Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, but my favorite song by them is Soul to Squeeze. That's on here. Yeah, I was actually looking for this on eBay the other day. It was a little more pricey than I wanted, and then I saw this. 99 cents again. Had to pick it up. Okay, then those eBay pickups, some video games here. So technically, this one I had in my collection already, but there are 2 different versions of it. I got New Zealand Story for the NES. This is the original PAL release of it, and previously I already had Kiwi Craze, so now I have both versions of that, which is awesome. And then we got one for the Countdown here for the Super Nintendo from Koei. I got Brandish. So I got a very, very good deal on this. You could see it in the pictures on the listing, and it was stated in the description. It looked as though somebody's dog might have got a hold of this bad boy. But from what this is valued at on price charting, I got it for about 50% of the value. And I'll take it, man. Those little nibble marks aren't going to bother me a whole lot because it plays just fine. The label looks great on it, and when I popped it in to test it out, it worked great, and it's a really fun game, too. A little primitive by today's standards, but, you know, going after the full Koei set for the NES and the Super Nintendo, obviously, because I'm going after complete sets in general, I think I might only need one more Koei game on the Super Nintendo after picking this up. And other than their typical strategy style of gameplay that you saw from a lot of their releases, this one's actually like a dungeon crawler with like a point-based battle system on it. A little weird in the way you maneuver through these caverns. rather than simply walking around obstacles and stuff, you actually hit the direction you want to walk. And so say like there's a pit you want to jump over, you don't just like walk and then push the jump button and jump over. You actually like move until you're there and then you push the jump button and go over. So the controls take some getting used to, but that didn't stop me. I had a lot of fun playing that game, so I'm excited about it. And pretty quick here, I'll be heading to the MGC, hopefully picking up plenty of more games. What's really cool is, you can see I'm down to 59 Super Nintendo games remaining. I have, I believe, 42 for the NES remaining. The two consoles combined, I'm almost under 100 remaining games to pick up. I feel like that's a bit of a milestone. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching today, and tune in next time. I'll see you again.